If you only know the headlines, this is the missing context. She's one of the most recognizable figures on the planet, but Beyoncé's path was anything but a straight line to superstardom. In this video, we pull back the curtain on the real story, her early rejections, the strategic moves, the failures that shaped her, and the quiet business decisions most people overlook. Whether you're an aspiring artist, a creative professional, or just fascinated by how icons are made, you'll come away with a clear blueprint for long-term influence. No gossip, just the documentary breakdown you've been missing. Most people see the polished final product, but Beyoncé's foundation was laid long before the world knew her name. This chapter covers the early years, the discipline, the disappointments, and the group dynamics that shaped her work ethic. Beyoncé grew up in Houston, Texas, performing in church choirs and dance studios from a young age. Her father, Matthew Knowles, quit his corporate job to manage her, a high-stakes family bet that meant success was the only option. That early pressure cooker environment taught her to treat every performance like a make-or-break moment, a mindset many aspiring artists never develop. If you're building a career, consider whether you have a support system willing to hold you accountable, but also be wary of mixing family and business without clear boundaries. At age 9, Beyoncé entered the reality competition show Star Search with her group Girls' Tyme, and they lost. That public failure stung, but she later described it as a defining moment. It taught her that talent alone isn't enough. She realized you have to command the stage, connect with an audience, and understand that entertainment is a business. This is a classic mistake high achievers make, assuming raw skill will carry them. Beyoncé's response was to double down on stagecraft and branding, a lesson in converting embarrassment into actionable feedback. As Destiny's Child took shape, the group endured multiple lineup changes, management disputes, and even a lawsuit from former members. Beyoncé stood out as the undeniable center, but she also learned that loyalty and chemistry matter when scaling a brand. The group's breakout hits like Say My Name and Bills, Bills, Bills were built on harmonies and a shared work ethic that later informed her solo collaborations. If you're in any team, watch how the strongest members handle internal conflict. It reveals who is built for the long haul. Matthew Knowles famously ran rehearsals like a military boot camp, requiring the girls to run miles while singing to build stamina. This unconventional method produced a discipline that very few artists have. Beyoncé later adopted similar rigors for her own team, proving that elite performance demands elite preparation. The downside? That intensity blurred professional and personal boundaries, a trade-off many family-run businesses face. When you're evaluating a potential collaborator or manager, ask yourself, do they push you to grow or just control you? Leaving the safety of a successful group is a massive risk. Here, we examine how Beyoncé crafted a solo identity, what she prioritized, and where the real money came from. When Beyoncé signed with Columbia Records for her solo debut, she retained publishing rights and creative control, a move that was rare for a young artist, especially a black woman. This decision meant she earned significantly more from her music catalog over time. Many artists sign away their rights for an advance, not realizing the long-term cost. Beyoncé's father, as manager, pushed for these terms, but it was her vision that insisted on owning her work. Before signing any deal, ask, who owns the master rights and the publishing? The lead single, Crazy in Love, was a cultural reset, built on a Chai Light sample and a guest verse from Jay-Z. Beyoncé chose it over safer, ballad-focused options because she understood the power of a bold statement. The song's success came from blending soul, pop, and hip-hop in a way that felt fresh but authentic to her. Too many artists chase trends instead of defining their own sonic fingerprint. Her approach, take a risk, but root it in what you genuinely love. Long before social media demanded a polished feed, Beyoncé was building a visual world. The gold-emblazoned album cover, the coordinated Destiny's Child outfits, the cinematic videos. She knew that an artist's image was a product itself. This meticulous attention to aesthetics became a blueprint for modern pop stars. If you're developing a personal brand, invest in a visual identity that tells a story at a glance. It pays dividends in memorability. At the 2004 Grammys, Beyoncé took home 5 awards, a record-breaking night that seemed like pure triumph. Privately, she was grappling with exhaustion, the dissolution of her romance with Lindell Locke, and the pressure to stay on top. Many public successes hide personal trade-offs. The lesson here isn't to avoid success, but to anticipate the toll and build recovery systems. For creatives, the Grammy moment is a reminder. Peak performance often coincides with peak vulnerability. Beyoncé didn't just make music, she changed how music is experienced. This chapter breaks down her alter ego, her visual album gamble, and how she built a business empire outside the record label system. Before Beyoncé was comfortable in her own skin on stage, she invented an alter ego, Sasha Fierce. This persona was sassier, more aggressive, and allowed her to separate the personal from the performer. It's a common tactic among introverts thrust into the spotlight. However, she later outgrew Sasha, realizing true power came from integrating her full self. If you struggle with imposter syndrome, having a temporary stage persona can help, but don't let it box you in permanently. In 2013, Beyoncé dropped her self-titled album out of nowhere, with no prior promotion and a video for every track. It was a massive risk that could have flopped, but it redefined the album launch. She cut out middlemen who might leak the surprise and went directly to fans. The takeaway: sometimes the boldest marketing is no marketing, if you have built enough trust and mystique. Before you follow a traditional launch plan, ask if your audience would respond better to a surprise. Beyoncé founded Parkwood Entertainment in 2010 to manage her own productions, films, and brand partnerships. This vertical integration meant she didn't have to rely on outside companies for creative projects. It's the equivalent of a plumber owning the plumbing supply house, except in entertainment. For any professional, building a platform that controls multiple stages of your value chain increases margin and reduces dependency. The lesson: when your body of work is strong enough, build your own pipeline. The 2016 song Formation and its Super Bowl performance made a bold statement about Black identity and police brutality. Some fans cheered, others boycotted. Beyoncé made a calculated decision to alienate a segment of her audience for a deeper cultural stake. It's a high-risk move that can destroy brands. But because she had built decades of goodwill and clarity about her values, it strengthened her core base. If you're thinking about taking a public stand, make sure you have the credibility to weather the backlash. No career is without stumbles. The true test is how you recover. Here, we look at Beyoncé's most scrutinized moments and extract the durable strategies. At President Obama's second inauguration, Beyoncé was accused of lip-syncing the national anthem. The incident could have branded her as inauthentic. Her response? She acknowledged the situation, delivered a flawless live version at a press conference, and moved on. She didn't grovel or over-explain. The public tends to forgive a single misstep if trust is otherwise high. The takeaway: when you mess up, fix it visibly and quickly, then get back to work. In 2014, security footage leaked of Solange attacking Jay-Z in an elevator, with Beyoncé as bystander. The mystery fueled endless tabloid speculation. Her camp's silent response was strategic. They released a brief statement and then let the music speak, most notably through Lemonade's and Jay-Z's 444. They turned private pain into public art on their own timeline. For those in the public art on their own timeline, sometimes the best crisis response is a creative project that reclaims the narrative. Beyoncé's 2018 Coachella performance, dubbed Baychella, was a masterclass in preparation and cultural celebration. She also released a Netflix documentary, Homecoming, that showed the behind-the-scenes struggle, rehearsal through injury, the HBCU band coordination, the sheer volume of detail. By documenting the process, she monetized the work twice, once as a live event and once as a film. This is a crucial lesson for creatives. If you're going to pour that much effort into a project, capture the story and multiply its value. With over 200 million records sold and 32 Grammys, Beyoncé's stats are staggering. But she defines legacy through cultural impact, shifting the conversation around feminism, Black aesthetics, and artistic ownership. She's shown that fame isn't just popularity, it's the ability to change the rules. When you think about your own career, look beyond metrics like followers or income. The real question is, what are you changing, and who will remember it? That's the practical version of how Beyoncé built a lasting career. The big idea: understand the problem, own your work, learn from each failure, and build systems that outlast moments. If this breakdown gave you a new perspective on what it actually takes to build a legacy, Hit like and subscribe. We do deep dives on the moves behind the fame so you can make smarter choices in your own journey. Share this with someone who enjoys the real story behind famous people.